welcome back to another episode of the Melanin Money Show. And so as you can tell, we're not on our typical Zoom setup, we're in person, we're in Miami, and not only are we in person, we have a special guest with us today. So y'all already know who it is. It's your co-host, George Etchenpong.
Jacqueline Shattuck.
Carla Kofa, and we're blessed with the amazing Ellie Talks Money. Introduce yourself to the people.
Hi everyone, so my name is Ellie, aka Ellie Talks Money. I'm a business coach and strategist. I help people start their businesses from the ground up. I teach them how to leverage business credit, grants, and just overall how to create multiple streams of income. It's something I'm super passionate about, is helping small business owners get to the bag. So I'm super excited to be here.
Love it.
We're super excited to have you. As you know, we love to talk about securing the bag as well.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the Melanin Money Show, right? So it's like we help people of color get the bag. But what I wanted to just kind of go talk a little bit about is because at the end of the day, everybody sees Ellie Talks Money with 200,000+ followers on Instagram and the glow up, right? They see the glow up,
right?
So I would love to just go back a little bit. We don't gotta go super far. Because the glow up is real. In fact, real quick. But just if we could just go back and talk a little bit about the backstory. Because I always like to say that there's a
backstory before what?
I try to repeat the same thing that I said before and I messed up. We'll edit that out.
Yeah.
Deep breath.
You know that there's a backstory behind every bag, and so we kind of want to just hear a little bit about that. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. No, it's so true. We were just talking earlier that there's always problems before profits. Always problems before profits. And I feel like when more people know that, they'll keep going past the problems. You have to just persevere, right? So you guys, I know we see the Ellie now and all the followers and the success, but a year and a half ago, probably now 15, 16 months, I had just gotten a divorce, moved back home to my mom's house with all my 4 kids, pandemic, trying to homeschool, unemployed, public assistance, anything you could probably think of, I probably went through it at that time, and the stimulus checks came, those $1,200 stimulus checks. Those stimmy checks came through, and I felt like I knew that was my moment to change everything. So I took that stimulus check and made $1 million in 10 months. Woo. And now it's a multi-million-dollar business.
So, shut that. Hold on, wait.
Right.
Hold on. You can't just say that. So you took $1,200 and turned it into, you can say $2 million in 16 months. Jeez. So we have to unpack this because I want people to really understand what's happening here.
Yeah.
Because I don't think people appreciate the glorious they had the story. So when did you make that decision and what came to you to make that? Because most people, that's grocery money. That's shoes.
I know.
That's a bag.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I know.
So
what the lines at Louis Vuitton were around the block.
They were tripping.
So
when did you make a decision this is my time and I'm going to take advantage of this money now?
Honestly, I thought about the fact that so when you're on unemployment or public assistance, you get a set amount of money every single month, right? And you pretty much budget for that money. So that was extra money to me, right? And so I was faced with a decision. I could use this extra money to just do what anybody might do, which is maybe pay some bills, get some groceries, maybe even buy the kids some new clothes. Or I could really take this as a sign and opportunity to bet on myself and just go after it. And so what I really want people to understand is you don't need to have a lot of money to go make a lot of money, right?
Say that again.
Wait, say that again because everybody gets hung up on I can teach you how to get $500,000 in business credit and da-da-da-da.
Right.
But what I run into so often is people tell me their business plans and I'm you don't need $500,000.
You don't need it.
Right. You really could have $1,200
You really could. Especially nowadays, we have the internet, we have social media, So you don't need a lot of money to go and make a lot of money. What you need is discipline, consistency, a domain name. That's what I use the money on, right? I use the money on a couple different domains. I paid for Canva Pro. I think I upgraded my phone so I could take better pictures. Got a ring light. What else did I spend on? Probably maybe a couple, clothes just to be nice, whatever. And
you stressed that 1,200.
Yeah.
Hey. Broke it down.
Listen, I had a budget.
Canva and Fashion Nova. All right.
Facts. I had a budget. So, so that was just like the tangible stuff, but everything else was just discipline, consistency, and content. We're in this social media era. I saw Instagram as a free platform. I couldn't run ads, no Facebook ads, no anything. I just said, okay, people need valuable information, so I will post 3 to 5 times a day, every day, until I see a return on this.
And let me just give y'all how I met Ellie and saw Ellie. Not only were you posting 3 to 5 times a day, you were going live.
Yeah.
Every day, all day.
Yeah.
For like 6 months.
Yep.
And I had no idea what was happening.
Nope. A lot of people didn't. I mean, I almost made it a routine. Like, get up, take care of the kids, get them to school, or in that case, there was no school. Get breakfast, sit down with them. Okay, you're good right now. Mommy's about to work. Go live for an hour. Get my content up. Get my systems. Like, it just had to become almost methodical to me, right? And so earlier we were talking about like time management, how to fit this in. Right. There's never enough time. Let me just break
that right now.
Break it down right now.
Period. There's never enough time. You just had to make the time. So I knew that changing diapers, at the time my twins were like 5 months old, right?
So you have 4 kids.
4.
And you were managing a business and having to raise them, and they can't go to school.
Nope.
Okay.
Because we got COVID.
Yeah. Right.
And we're home with moms.
Little babies. They're not in school.
Little babies. They want to just do baby things, all the time. Right. So it's like, okay, I knew that those were permanent, like, blocks that wouldn't change. Right. Babies are always going to need food. They're going to need to eat. Kids are going to need at least a little time and attention. Right. So I said, okay, how can I build a business around these blocks that won't change, right? So I made sure I created all my content at night when they were sleeping. I made sure I went live while they were napping. Listen, I know y'all see my kids coming live with me.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all fun, right?
You put them on your lap, keep on going. But people love that. People love that.
Right. It's real. It's authentic. It's that's your real life, right? Yeah. And to that end, I think the reason why live became such a catalyst for people growing their brand is that we realized that we truly value human connection, right? People always talk about social media this, social media that. But when the world shut down, right, Instagram Live was the closest thing you could get to human interaction, right? Yeah. Stories, people like stories. That's cool. Feed is super curated, but IG Live and Zoom
was real.
Who else was on, like, not DJ Khaled?
D-Rock.
D-Rock.
Tory Lanez break the record?
Yeah. I think so.
But
I was on
DJ.
I was home alone during COVID, okay? Totally different problems, right? I was home completely alone. And then I see this IG Live, like, oh, we having a party tonight?
Everybody grab a drink?
Yeah, exactly.
So I got to ask this. I really want people to understand you as a person, like what you have to go through. So, like, how did you mentally know that you can do this? Because I'm sure after the divorce, you didn't have the mindset or the confidence that you could actually build this. So, like, where did you curate the confidence to become the person that you are today?
Yeah, that's such a good question, and it's such a it's so deep because the marriage that ended was also an abusive marriage, right? So I got married at 19 or 20. Was in that marriage for 7 or 8 years. So, I only saw myself as a wife. I mean, when I left, I was 27, so still very young, 29 now.
Was he the same age as you?
Just a little older, maybe 4 years. Okay. So when these big moments in our life happen where one chapter closes or ends and another one begins, it's a hard transformation. Right. But what... I drew the confidence and really the willingness because when I looked around at my kids, when I looked at the fact that I was living in my mom's house, when I saw the reality, I became more afraid of staying in the same place than I was of getting started.
Wow. Say it again.
Right? The fear has to change, right? So sometimes people are so afraid of starting and failing. I was afraid of just being in the same place in 12 months, in 6 months.
Because being broke is hard.
Right.
Trying to be rich is hard.
You gotta choose your heart. And that's just so crazy. So when I think about like that transformation, right, and having that epiphany, having that moment, and then going from there to the Ellie that we see now and with the multi-million-dollar business, and we talked a little bit about this when we first connected, right? What I'm curious about is it's really hard to like catch up, right? To like the person that you became, right? And the money that you made in that period. So my question to you is, like, how did you deal with the mindset shift of, whoa, like, I'm this multi-millionaire now. I don't necessarily identify with that yet just because
It's so fast.
Just 8-10 months ago, I didn't have this, right? So, like, just talk us about, like, that journey of how you had to kind of evolve mentally, right? Like, once you, because it's almost like 2 phases, right? It was having the mental decision to go down this path, and then now developing your mindset to be able to accept your new reality of the woman that you had become.
Yeah, and I want to throw in there because this is our first time having another woman on the podcast. Yes. So I think it's important to highlight the fact that everything in life, I feel like, for women, is meant to tear you down and to tell you that you're not good enough and you can't do it and, you know, you don't have the option.
Right.
For example, the statistics are 71% of men are comfortable managing their money as opposed to 53% of women.
Right.
So there's just not that natural confidence there, right?
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of it has to be built. And as women, there's so many more hurdles I think that we have to go over. So that's why I admire your story so much more.
Yeah. You know, I will definitely say that I had to play catch up to my bank account, right?
Good problems to have.
You know, I'm like, I'm refreshing. Wait, is that, what does that say? Right? Is that my, I mean, is this going to go away?
Multiple couples there? Like,
right? Oh my gosh, you know, because being the first in your family to make more than 100,000, right? That in itself is for a lot of people the first tier, then $500,000, then $1 million. I felt so many different things. I felt like, you know, do I deserve it? Am I helping enough people? How do I help everybody else make this? I felt such a deep sense of like, wait, I can't enjoy this yet. Like, what do I do? I mean, you know, we just feel all these draws, and what I knew was that because I didn't know how to manage it and because I was being pulled in so many directions, I hired help, right? I went and got help. I went and talked to people who knew what to do and said, hello, hi, I'm the first in my family. Yeah. Please show me what to do and how I make it so that I'm not the last in my family.
Ooh.
Big bar.
Because being the first generation millionaire, your job is not to be the last one.
Exactly. And I felt that deep sense, like it took me, and this is not a big milestone, but it took me like 9 months to even buy a designer bag. Like I was that, like, wait, I just don't know if I should spend this. I need a plan, you know?
But I think part of it is because of the people that you're around, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, even in my family, for me to talk about certain things like that, like to talk about designer bags and to talk about trips to Miami, that's foreign to them.
Right.
So it feels weird to have that conversation.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you had to build a circle around you of people who are like, okay, we can accept your designer bag.
Yeah, I definitely did. And I remember being a little nervous to tell my dad and my mom for the first time. Very nervous. I had to build up to it because I wasn't sure what would their response be. Would they
ask you for back rent?
Yeah. Would
you were living here for that time.
Well, if you would have been.
You know, right. I thought my mom was going to hit me with a bill. I didn't know if they were going to feel like, well, if you were, that means you had, you know, 500,000 a few months ago. Why didn't you? You know, I just.
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure what the response would be. I remember feeling very nervous and feeling like, should I have put them on payroll from month one, you know? But when they responded well, I just explained to them, like, you know, my goal is to support you. I just need time to figure out how to do this so that I'm not the last one. I want my kids to be good, your great grandkids to be good, you know? And I just had to really honestly know that it's okay that I don't know what to do. Right. The key is not staying there, right? We just have to make sure we surround ourselves or do the research so we know how to move instead of just moving crazy.
Right, because there's this misconception that, like, when you're an expert in any regard, that you're supposed to have everything figured out in all categories, right? Supposed to have your...
That's because as people, we don't compartmentalize very well.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a fact. No, that's a fact. And so it's like, you know, preaching and educating and helping other people, like, you're probably part of you is just like, man, well, should I have it all figured out? Like, is imposter syndrome kicking in because I don't have, no. Like, the reality is nobody is supposed to do everything right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think it's just stepping into that. And I think that is why your platform has accelerated the way it has, is because there's velocity and vulnerability, right? Like, you're inviting people in to the story and say, hey, look, yes, I was divorced. Yes, I have my kids. Yes, I would move back in with my mom. And people can relate to that. The reason why we enjoy comedians so much is because they just say what we're all thinking.
Right.
But they have the audacity to say it, right? Make a joke out of it. And I think when you look at some of the most successful people, you can also see the level of transparency, right? And I think that's one of the main reasons that your brand is catapulted the way it has.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that it's such an important part. And one thing, you know, when I decided to start the business, right, I kind of wrote down my brand values, right, my pillars. And I knew that I wanted authenticity to be one of the main things, because I felt like when I started doing market research and looking at what other business coaches or people who are educating were doing, it all looked very intangible to a new person. Right. So I'm like, I want to make sure that people almost grow with me. You know, I want them to really see I can relate to her because I came from being broke too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hello, but I'm giving you the information that you need because I've done it before. Now I'm showing you how you can do it for yourself. And at the same time, we in the trenches together.
It's so important. It's so important.
That's super bad. Well, guys, we're going to go on our first ever commercial break. I mean, there's so much sauce being dropped right now.
We're coming right back, though.
Yeah, we're coming right back. Just to give y'all a second to digest the sauce, right?
We'll digest it. Get some water.
Get some water.
We'll be right back.
What's up, guys? We're back. We hope that you had a second to digest all the gems, all the sauce, and we got into a little bit of the backstory, but now we want to kind of give you a little more strategy, a little more tactics, and just unpack like, okay, that was cool. I'm inspired, but now y'all want to get activated. So, Ellie, let's talk a little bit about just like the strategy, right? Because obviously, you know, you got on and showed up and you were consistent, but at some point you started to connect the dots like, oh, this is working.
Right.
And so let's unpack the strategy a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's a good point because, you know, it's inspirational, right? But I also want people to know it's possible. Right. I'm not a unicorn. I'm not just someone who was able to make something happen. You know, there was a lot of diligence and strategy that went behind it. So I think one of the first key things is understanding what you can offer to the marketplace and how does that match with what the marketplace needs. So when I knew I was going to go out and start coaching and offer, you know, my consulting to businesses, I had come from a startup background. So I'm a life insurance broker. I worked in a startup company, scaled that business up to, you know, $5 million in revenue. So I was really familiar with what it's like to run businesses. I had just never given that service to other businesses.
Gotcha.
So what I did and what anyone listening can do is, you know, you want to make a list of the skills that you have. The skills that you have, the knowledge you have, the transformations you yourself have experienced, the accomplishments you've done, and then align those and then look at, okay, now in this area, what does the market actually need right now, right? So it's not about bringing what I thought I should teach, what I thought I could make money from. I went and started scrolling through Instagram, scrolling through Reddit, scrolling through Facebook groups, looking at, are there people right now who are struggling with their business and what are the top 5 questions that they have? Then aligning, okay, I know how to do this. Here's a question they have. I can meet them with the solution. That birthed the coaching.
And I think that's so important. So many of us focus on what we think people need and try to give them that, but we forget to sit and ask. And they'll tell you if you just ask them.
They will tell you. That's another huge thing. You know, I did a lot of putting questions up in my stories on Instagram. A lot of my content, I would literally at the, you know, bottom of my caption have people ask me questions. What do you think about this? Have you experienced this? What's been hard for you? So all of that not only built trust with my audience and authenticity and a relationship, but then they literally told me what they needed to teach them.
And then you did it. It's like, oh, you got this thing for me that I asked for.
Exactly.
You told me. Like,
You know what's so funny? When I first got into entrepreneurship, this is back in the days we actually had to go to networking events. Go figure. and this guy who taught me, he said, you know what? This is the easiest way to get clients. He said it's called the "you know how what I do is" formula. So basically, you let somebody talk, right? And they tell you all of it because people love to hear themselves talk. They talk about this and they do that and they do that, and you let them talk and you say, you know what? Well, you know how in your industry, blah, 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 blah. Well, what I do is you just regurgitate back to them what they said they do. Oh my gosh, you literally do exactly what I'm looking for, but you just let them talk. And now you're regurgitating back to them exactly what it is that you do. So really tailoring your business model to the people that you serve. But my follow-up to that is, what do you say to the creatives, the free spirits who say, you know what, I just want to do what I'm passionate about. I want to do what I love. What if the market, right, doesn't need what you love, right? What do you say to those people?
Honestly, my whole philosophy and strategy is do what will make you money first, then do what you love, right? Because a lot of the time, what we're immediately passionate about isn't always where our profit lies, right? We need to go with what is purposeful and profitable and then pursue passion a little bit later, right? I'm not, you know,
real PPP.
right? The real PPP.
Yeah.
That's very key because you might be very excellent in your creative field and you want to be in there, but maybe where you're needed is showing someone else how they can build up their creative strategies or how they can enter the marketplace as a creative person. You know, so you really want to, again, make that list of what you can bring to the table and then what people actually want to eat.
You know, and what you think about is exactly what you're doing, and I don't know if this was intentional, but you make the money first, and then people think that I got to go out and do 7 things. No, you don't have seven jobs. You have 7 streams, right? So you get the money, and then you deploy your capital, as soldiers, as Carter likes to say. You deploy your capital to do the work for you. But what happens is people think 7 streams is, I got to do this, I got to do hair, I got to be a chef. No. Like, you deploy the capital, and you can still be passionate about it, but then you can be a true visionary, right? So imagine, like, people think they're creative and they want to do the work. Like, no, you're more than likely a creative visionary, but now you have the resources to deploy to allow it to actually work on your behalf. So I think that's the misconception that people have to get over.
Yeah, no, I would totally agree with that. You don't need to go spend more time or work harder in order to make more money or have your money working for you. You know, get your one stream down. So launch that initial business, get that going, get that flowing, and then start putting that money to work in other areas. Right? Now you can still be doing that business, but you know that money's still being made whether you get up that day or not.
Famously known underneath the Melanin Money brand, what do we always say? Sleeping bag society.
Paper,
bag society.
Get money while you sleep. And it's a lifestyle, right? Not because it sounds cool or it's catchy. I mean, it is. But it's because at the end of the day, what is it today? I don't even know. Sometimes I forget the days.
Today's the 14th.
Today's the 14th, Thursday. Right? It's a Thursday, middle of the day. We're able to be here with you present because we have systems in place that are making money for us while we're not here. That's what it's about. It's not about being able to flex and post the screenshots of making money at 2 a.m. It's giving you the lifestyle freedom that affords you the opportunities that you want to do. Like, literally, I texted Jacqueline at 10 o'clock.
Yesterday, right?
Because she was just here the week before. I'm like, there's no way she's coming. But, like, you know how it is. You got to give other people the opportunity to say no. You can't decide for them. So I was like, oh, shit. I'm going to see how she go ahead.
I'm going to send it to her at 10 o'clock at night and expect her to be there the next day at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
And she was here before 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
With no confirmation, by the way. Anyway.
Because I knew you were between the lines. Like, you see, you know, look at the sales page. You want to be here. And so she showed up, but could she have done that? Right. If she was in a different dynamic. And this is not to knock 9 to 5s or anything like that. It's freedom. Yeah. Right? Time, location, and financial. And the financial is what fuels the other two.
Exactly.
I really need to read out loud what I just posted because I think this needs to be read out loud. Okay. All right. So
I'm back on Twitter now because it's good.
I'm on Twitter because Instagram is playing with me. So okay. All right. So there's this post, right, and it says one of the biggest scams of all time is asking someone for permission to take a lunch break for 30 minutes, to go to the bathroom, to take a vacation, or to stay home because you're feeling under the weather and or overworked and exhausted. Right. I tweeted that, but the part that I retweeted was I just couldn't do it anymore. It was degrading to be the only black person in the office and the only one who had to request time off personally. Everyone else used the computer. I promised myself I wouldn't go back.
Yeah, can't go back because it's a lifestyle, right? Like when you wake up and you own your time, and you can show up in the day knowing that you can do whatever you want to. There's so much power, confidence in that, and like I tell people all the time. Being out, especially with kids, right? Oh, yes. Like they see you as a boss. Like you don't even have to teach them how to be a boss. They looking at mom like, yo, mom does what she wants, when she wants, how she needs to do it. Yeah. So you're raising young kings and queens and bosses because it's not about what you say, it's about how you act. Yeah. So how you mentioned a little bit earlier how your kids have played a role into like knowing that you had to make this work, right? what do you kind of see for your kids? Is like, what do you want? You know, like, do you want them to grow up to be bosses? Like, you know, have you thought about that yet?
Yeah, you know, I think what's so important to me, and especially with this big life change of the divorce and, you know, everything, they're young, which I'm grateful for, but it's still a change for them. So I really want to be able to create a life for them where they can see that they always have choice, right? They always have options. They always have resources. And also that they have the ability to change their circumstance immediately, right? Anytime they feel uncomfortable, anytime they don't like what they're doing, anytime they want to pursue a passion, right? Or just anything that they care about, that they have the ability to do that, you know? And it's so funny, like my kids, they're around all the time. So when I go live, they're usually just right in the other room. So I'll come out and they'll be like, Mom, you did great. That was a great live class. You talked about business credit. What's that? What's a G-Wagon?
Wow. They gonna know. They gonna know early.
Yeah. And so when we'll be out and about, you know, looking at cars, I remember when I went to get the Escalade, Heidi was like, you got it on business credit, right? That's my son. I mean, so this is just, I'm creating a normal for them, right? I'm creating a reality for them. And that is my ultimate goal because, you know, wealth is one thing, but information, passing that down ensures that not only do they have money, but they know what to do with the money.
That's a fact. And that's why, like, a part of our process at the firm, as you know, right, is creating that family governance, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to pass down just the money, you want to pass down the mindset, right? Because if you pass down the money, it can easily be squandered. But if you don't pass down the mindset, it's like, okay, this is how mommy said we do money, right? And that is how you can truly create generational wealth. Because everybody wants to talk about generational wealth, but it's like, have you passed down generational documentation?
Yes.
Right? This is the infrastructure of how our family does money. And so I think that's incredibly important. So, Ellie, you have a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
Right? You got, obviously, your digital product business, right? Your coaching business and all the revenue that comes from that. Could you kind of just like break down like some of your revenue streams for our audience just so they can see like, man, like what does she really have going on?
Man, so I'm really grateful that it's a little bit of a list, right? Because I remember when it was one thing, like unemployment. And that was it. Full stop.
That was it.
Full stop. So I'm grateful now that there's a few things. So, you know, definitely the business. Digital products is probably the biggest revenue generator. I'm still a life insurance broker, so I'm still receiving residual income from life insurance. I have a truck on the road, so I make money from the truck.
Well, did you give it a name? What's it called?
Oh, Blanco.
Love it.
Blanco. So Blanco's on the road. I have currently up and active 2 Airbnbs, so I'm making money from that. I do own a home, so I get rental income from that. What else?
I mean, next year it's gonna be 7 more. And you speak. You get paid to speak.
I get paid to speak. I lumped that in. I have a car on Turo.
Yeah.
And I feel like those are. I'll probably think of something later. But what was that? 7 or
that was
7 or
8?
Yeah.
But
plenty.
But like George said, it started with 1.
Yeah.
She focused, locked in. If it focus on you until the focus is on you, right?
Yes.
She locked in on one thing, and once that thing brought in income, she learned how to deploy diversify. So now, if you don't sell any digital products one day, which probably never happened, you still good. Your kids are still good.
Still good, you know, and that was something really important to me because, again, going back to what we said earlier about my mindset had to really catch up to the money.
Right.
Once I saw it, I did not want to get comfortable. I did not want to feel like, oh, I could just chill now, you know? No, it's like
chill time.
It's not chill time. If anything, when blessings start really pouring in, I was like, let me go harvest even more.
You know,
right?
one of the masters at that, Kevin Hart, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think Kevin Hart is the funniest comedian, but he understands the window of opportunity.
Oof.
Right? He is capitalizing on he's getting every bag he can from commercial. He has a financial education partnership with Chase.
Yeah,
really?
That's a big bag. That's a big bag.
Right.
A big bag.
You know, so just like understanding, to your point, not getting complacent or naive, it's always gonna come. And that's just not how it works.
It doesn't work like that.
Run it up.
You run it up and you keep going and you don't stop. Like that same discipline and consistency that it took for me to get to that first, second, third M, I'm like, I still have to exercise that same discipline and consistency because there's really, to me, no foot off the gas, right? It's just going to be a different way. So I might not have to show up every day in my business, but my foot is still on the gas because of all these other income streams, you know?
And then I think it becomes the matter of relativity, right? It's like at one point when unemployment was the bag, and it's like, well, if I could get 10K,
the bag.
Right? That's funny. I get the 10K. It's like, okay, 10K, 100K, okay. So you have to start to raise your baseline, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, like broke used to be zero, right? But then now broke might be 100,000, 200,000, $1 million. You see what I'm saying? So like, you have to raise your baseline, because there's people out here right now that would laugh at making $1 million a month.
Oh, yeah, they laugh at that. People are like,
what would I do with that?
How you keep the lights on? Right, exactly.
But I think like let's try to make it really simple and digestible for our audience. So let's start with the mainstream that started streaming. Okay, so that was you going all in on Instagram. Yeah. Okay, so can you share like some tactics of that? So if somebody is like, okay, it's time for me to get my Instagram popping. It's time for me to get some money from my Instagram. Yes. What should be the first thing that they do? So they've got their list, right? They figured out what they want to do.
Yeah, give us a big three. Boom, boom, boom.
Okay.
Put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
Right, I know. So big three. So first things first, and I can say from my experience, I started with coaching, so providing a direct service to the people. Direct, right? Sell to the need, literally. So I knew people needed assistance with XYZ, so I made sure that I was available for coaching calls to do XYZ. So it got to a point where that was too much time and I couldn't serve as many people. So then I took the XYZ and packaged it into a product, digital product, that I could just provide to multiple people, right? So the key before you are able to get your coaching calls booked or get your first sale is the content that you create has to show people that you are the one in position to solve their problem, that you're the one in position to help them with whatever they need help with, that you can educate them on whatever this topic is. And keep in mind, you guys, solving a problem could be you sell skincare that clears up their pimples, right? You sell weave that makes them look like Beyonce. I mean, whatever the problem that you're solving is, your content needs to be frequent enough, so not once a week, right? But 3 sometimes times a day. I know people are like, how? But remember, there's never enough time. You just make the time.
And you believe in free content, right? Like, because a lot of people say, I don't want to give all my knowledge away for free.
No such thing.
Like I say, if you feel like you give away too much game, that means you don't know enough.
You don't know enough. Because honestly, we have to think about the fact that there's so much information being thrown at people right now, right? There's so many. In my case, there's so many other coaches. There's so many YouTube videos. I mean, there's just so much. So in order to stand out, you have to serve. You have to give value, right? And when people feel like they're gaining a lot from your free content, it makes them want to buy. Right. Because if they're like, if I was able to achieve this transformation just off of a live or an Instagram post, imagine the transformation I'll get when I actually talk to her on the phone or when I actually invest in a course, you know?
Yeah. And what that makes me think about, I think this is a really good segue, is take the time to actually get good at something. Because I feel like too many people are trying to make a bag off finessing. It's like how can I convince them that this is the right product or I'm the right person? Just get good.
Have the right product, be the right person.
So take a couple steps back. Like, what is that skill set that I can really go in on? Because it's not going to take you forever. Yeah. You're spending more time thinking about like how to finesse, like it's almost like the scammers, right? All the energy you're putting in on trying to scam somebody,
you get a bit of program.
Put that energy in on getting good. Like, what is that skill set you've been running from? Like, you know what? You might not even know it yet, but you know people want to know it, and you get paid in direct proportion, right, to the problems that you solve. There's no reason why Carter's platform started to blow up because everyone's scared of Uncle Sam. Yeah, right. Everyone's scared of Uncle Sam. So it's like going back to like getting away from your passion. It's like, what can I do that people need, right? And how can I become the person that fills that void and masters that skill?
So the way I put the list is I always say 20 things. So it's 20 things of value. Firstly, a lot of people I feel will launch into a career or something they want to do and they don't realize what value they bring to the table. Right. So I say create a list of 20 things of value from yourself that you can provide for your consumers. Yes. And then write a list of 20 questions that your consumers have. Your prospects have.
Yes. Reverse engineer it. Yes.
And I feel like sometimes the 20 questions needs the research, right? It needs the Reddit and it needs the Facebook groups. But I think that you need to stretch and do a list of 20 because it's going to expand you from where you are, right?
How you learn. Because you're going to end up learning more.
Yeah.
And now you can create more content off what you learn.
Yeah. That's the beautiful part about creating a bunch of free content is it forces you to go back in your bag. It's like literally the hack. It's the hack on personal development. Let me pour out everything, so I got to go back and get more.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah, I feel like, what is really key too, and I tell people this all the time, in my first 3 or 4 months of launching the business, I didn't turn a profit. Like, I wasn't making money. Why? Because I wasn't selling anything yet. I just spent that time doing free coaching calls or sometimes $10, right? Just, because...
Can't sniff her butt. Nothing less than...
And it wasn't because I didn't believe that I could charge, but I really wanted to have created heroes and testimonials. So I said, I know I can do this, right? I know, but I need the people to see someone else who looks like them vouch for my services.
And there's another hack in that too. The hack is if you do those free coaching calls, now you have micro content that you can chop up, giving that advice, right? So you're going to do it for free, but I'm about to chop this content up. Right? And so now you have documented proof and a free testimonial, right, to be able to propel your brand and showcase that, I actually know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and it totally pays off. I think some people aren't always willing to plant that seed and just wait for it to grow. But, the first 3 to 4 months was no revenue. And then 2 months later, I had passed 100K. And then 5 months later, we were at $1 million. So it's like when you take that time to just dig deep, build rapport, be authentic, build the trust, it's just a domino effect. It goes so fast.
And the crazy part about it is we know these things. We hear these things like build trust, build an audience, but everyone wants to skip over the process, right? It's not revolutionary, but people just don't want to do the work.
Yeah, I think some people don't know the process. So I like that you shared that with us. Look, I did it for free pretty much.
Literally. I watched her. She was going live every minute review. I am such a fan of you because I know you deserve everything you have. Because we sit together on a weekly basis and we go, are you spending time doing that? You spend so much time on the front end, and people, I say this all the time, amateurs make money on the front end, experts make money on the back end. Mm-hmm. So you spent the time to build that trust, and now you're making your back end money. Yeah. You deserve it because you put in the work.
Yeah. It's really key. You guys, in any business you have, whether you provide a service or you sell a product, you really want to create champions or heroes in your business. People who are going to go with you. I know, we talk about 1,000 true fans, right? I know out of this 300 plus thousand, I know I have 1,000 rock solid people who, if I decided to start selling, statues tomorrow, they would rock.
Ellie, throw a little pull up at it.
They would rock with it and be like, oh, you got statues? I'm there, right? So that is so valuable. And I think, you guys have to really ask yourself, do you want a short-term bag or do you want a long-term business? Right. And I knew I wanted something long-term where my kids are still this is mommy's consulting business. This is mommy's coaching, So, and that's a personal thing, right? Some people might just want to make a quick and get out, right?
So let me ask you this thing, 'cause I think that's a great point, right? When people hear the long-term business piece of it, they're probably, their mind immediately goes to, okay, well, I got to put in a lot of thought, a lot of energy, a lot of structure, a lot of effort to have the foresight to think about what that end game looks like, right? But at the same token, we also know that there's an evolution of a product, a service, a business, right? So can you talk through starting with the end in mind, but still understanding how to start where you are, what that looks like?
Yeah, definitely. So I think, when you think about starting with the end in mind, but still using what you have, I would say the number one thing is not to delay, right? You have to just start because that's where the learning happens. A lot of the time we want it to be so perfect, right? Thinking that it has to be perfect now in order to be amazing at the end. But that's not how it goes. We just got to start. And then what we learn throughout is what actually fortifies it to last longer.
You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to
be great. So I knew that I wanted to structure something where even if I was out of it, I would be able to have people in my business who understood the values of Ellie's consulting company, who understood what we wanted to do for businesses, who understood what types of businesses we could really help. So I knew that was going to come, right? I'm working there, but I had to just start with me executing that first, right? Me making sure that I'm going out and really serving these businesses. And even now, that I've still, amassed a certain level of success, I still go out and accomplish more so I can keep testing my skills and go back and serve, right? Mm-hmm. I just got approved for a really big business line of credit that I don't need, right? I don't need it in my business, but I went out to go get 6-figure approval so I can show my audience, like, look, we don't stop, and here's how you do it. Right. That's very key. You never stop.
Start where you are, do what you can, use what you have.
Exactly.
Cool. So
and document.
Document
everything, y'all. Document the process.
I know Maggie J always talks about that. Document the process.
Document the process. That's so key.
So I feel like we're better to do it than on social media.
Yeah.
Because going back to your point of like being your authentic self, just document it in front of everybody.
Exactly.
Let them see your evolution.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I even think about like my podcasting journey, right? It was just like, or even any content. Like all of my like gyms, I hashtag the George A speech, right?
Yeah.
You can scroll, you can see hundreds and hundreds of tweets for years, right?
Yeah.
You go all the way back 2013, right?
Wow.
There's 4 likes on some of them, right? But if I were to repost it today, it'd probably get a bunch of likes. But that was a long time ago, right? You got to put in the work and just show people. I think you said it, archiving a lot of my old content.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, look,
I keep it.
This is where I was at, right? This is where I'm at now.
Go back.
But listen, I know because George 10 years, 8 years. So like courses weren't a thing, like they started back 2013, whatever. There's some people that were in the game. Okay, I didn't know that they existed.
Yeah.
But if I did, I know it would have accelerated my career so much faster. Mm-hmm. Like it would have made things so much easier. Yeah. I just think that these courses are just amazing. Like it can really be a shortcut to building wealth for people and a shortcut to growing your business because we did the old school way. We went to the networking events.
I know.
Shaking hands.
It has changed. It has changed a lot.
I mean, it's phenomenal.
Let me tell you how powerful, and I've said this this is probably the third time I've said this on our podcast in some shape, form, or fashion, but it's important.
Yeah.
I want people to understand the revolution that's happening, right? So here's the thing, right? We understand that the educational system is broken. You understand that, right? The thing is, but money is energy. So just because the educational system is broken, it doesn't mean the money dries up, right?
Yeah.
It's going to shift. So here's what's going to happen, right? And I'm going to say it again, so y'all hopefully take advantage of it.
Right.
Right? What's going to happen is now you're going to see a huge shift where enterprises like Apple, Microsoft, all these companies, they're going to start licensing, right, content from the people who already have created the intellectual property.
Yep.
Right? Either they're going to do that or they're going to stand up their own institutions. Because here's the thing. Why would I send somebody to UNCG or send somebody to A&T, right, to get a generic education to then have to train them on the job when I can just hire someone who creates curriculum specific for the roles that I want my company to fulfill.
Exactly.
So what I'm saying is if you're a course creator, educator, anybody that has knowledge, you can literally reverse engineer how to get that bag. Go to that company's website. What is it that they're hiring for? Can I create curriculum tailored for some of the biggest institutions, right, that exist, and now have them license me or license my intellectual property? But all you have to do is be in position.
I don't know if the people were ready for that.
You go from B to C to B to B bag. It's a different bag.
It's a whole different bag, but it's right here for the
okay. Okay, so we don't want to be here all night. So Ellie, can you do us a favor? Let us know what's next for you, and let us know where people can find you.
Wow. Well, what's next for me is just continuing to expand. I really want to continue to have an impression and an impact on more businesses in more ways. I would love to impact another 100,000 people by the end of this year, 2021.
Let's go.
Let's go. Like, I really feel like I'm super passionate about creating access to entrepreneurship because I've seen how it's changed my life. And all people need sometimes is just some information and then a push to take action, right? Nice. And that's what I hope to continue to be able to do. And, create some other income streams. We need some more trucks, some more properties.
More trucks,
like
more everything.
More everything. It never stops.
More black wealth.
Exactly, more black wealth.
I'm trying to close the gap.
So I know
to do it all on her own.
So I know that right. She's trying to help all the people. Right? You know what I'm saying? She's like an honorary Melanin Money alumni. And so I know we said that was the last question, but I gotta ask you this.
Yes.
Right? So let me ask you this. When someone thinks about like always being known for something, right? Like, oh, well, I've always been known for this, and this is what I've done my entire life, my entire career. How do you help that person break out of that mindset to shift? Because even Jacqueline and myself, right? We've had this background of very traditional financial planning. It wasn't until recently, for myself a few years ago, and Jacqueline even more recently, they were like, yo, like we have to transition. Like, yes, we're credible. Yes, we have the credentials and all that good stuff. But for people who haven't been able to make that shift, what do you tell them who their identity is tied to what they've always done, but they know they need to make a transition and do something different? What would you tell them?
Wow. You have this problem too, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think that it's such a big thing, transitioning, transforming your identity is huge, right. But I think a great way to start is with baby steps, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's okay that you've seen yourself as being known for one thing, or that even other people have seen you as being known for that. Mm-hmm. But you can start to train your audience or train the people around you to see you and recognize that you have more knowledge by starting to share more of what you know, right? Mm-hmm. So it goes back to that serving thing. So even for me, I really focused a lot of my platform at the beginning on only business credit and grants, right? Mm-hmm. Like teaching people how to get OPM. That was it. Right. Then, as I became very known for that, I recognized that there was still more to teach. So I started slowly dripping out new information based on what I knew my audience needed. Mm-hmm. So I would say that the best way to start adding in that new identity is to look at who needs what you know you can do, and then start just dropping hints, right? Mm-hmm. Slowly but surely. And then before you know it, the same people who have known you for this will now start to know you for this and support you in that as well, right? It just needs to be you being confident in it, and then therefore they will be confident in what you're doing as well. Right.
So not being afraid to highlight just new information. That
exactly.
You know, right?
Don't keep yourself in one lane, I feel like society does that enough to Black people already. Yeah. So it's like, take all the lanes, right?
Love it.
Accurately, go to one lane. Take up space. Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, well, to Carter's point, we could do this all day long.
Literally.
So we're going to get out of here. But Ellie, thank you so much for all the gems, all the light. And guys, if she can do it, you can do it too.
You can do it.
So tap in. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure that you comment on this video and show Ellie some love, because she giving y'all game, but she could
come on
charge off this game. If y'all can't leave us a comment of y'all favorite gem that she gave y'all today,
I love it.
And we'll probably announce one of them on a future podcast.
Yeah, we're always giving away free stuff, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Peace.